What's up, guys? It's Lord Both here with another video, and we have Lord of the Rings news. Because the movie for the Lord of the Rings franchise from Warner Brothers and New Line Cinema, which is Lord of the Rings: The Hunt for Gollum, has been delayed. And I know what you're all thinking. Damn, that's disappointing, because I wish it had been canceled. Anyway, here's the article. This is from the direct. Lord of the Rings: Hunt for Gollum movie gets release window from Andy Serkis. Andy Serkis offered a disappointing release update for his upcoming Hunt for Gollum movie. When asked by the Direct's Kleinfeld about where the movie stands in development in anticipation of its 2026 release date, Serkis revealed, quote, "It's not 2026 and has been moved to 2027. This was the quote from Andy Serkis. Yeah, it's not 2026. It was originally going to be December 2026. It's going to be December 2027, so it's been delayed full year. He would go on to say, quote, "We are right at the beginning of the writing process. We will be prepping later this year. Prep takes a good chunk of time, 6 or 7 months, and then we will be shooting next year. So it backs that into December of 2027 release date. This is the first meaningful update fans have gotten on the film since it was first reported to be in development back in 2024. At the time, the only concrete details revealed were that the movie was called Lord of the Rings: The Hunt for Gollum. Serkis was directing it, starring, and director of the original Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson, was on board as an executive producer, which also doesn't mean much, seeing that Peter Jackson also directed and produced the Hobbit films, which were not of the same quality, shall we say. They weren't terrible, mind you, but they definitely were a step down. Also, if you guys don't know what The Hunt for Gollum is a reference to, this is a movie that's probably going to be the gap years between Gandalf leaving Frodo with the ring in Hobbiton and going off with Aragorn to try to find Gollum before he's captured by the orcs and tortured to reveal the location of the Bagginses and Hobbiton. However, the film having not much in the way of updates and seemingly taking quite a while to actually make, and now being delayed by an entire year, and they're just at the beginning of the writing process, and with it quite honestly being a Warner Brothers film, and Warner Brothers is kind of fickle right now, especially with their whole cash flow situation, having some of the most massive flops in respective industries in both gaming and movies. I have to say, I would be kind of surprised if this movie actually gets made. I would not put it above Warner Brothers and New Line Cinema to pull the plug on this film fast. Especially if it starts to get a lot of negative press, especially if Rings of Power starts doing even worse than it already is, harming the reputation of the Lord of the Rings franchise, which it most definitely is. And quite honestly, selling a story that revolves around Gollum is already a tough sell. I mean, look at the Lord of the Rings Gollum game, which was honestly terribly made, but also was a horrifically hard thing to sell people. Who wants to play as Gollum, the creepy, mysterious creature that's obsessed with the ring? People who are into high fantasy like Lord of the Rings, they don't want to do that. If anything, they want to play as a Gondorian soldier or whatever, or a member of the Rohirrim, or even a ranger of the North. But you know what they don't want to do? They don't want to play as Gollum. And people aren't really interested in watching a whole movie that revolves around searching for him. That a lot of it is going to be about him. He served a specific purpose in Lord of the Rings. Andy Serkis did a phenomenal job bringing him to life, and the character was phenomenal within the bounds of that story. But nobody is asking for more of that. It's really weird, man, that every turn the people who manage Lord of the Rings make with the series, whether that's Rings of Power or The Hunt for Gollum or that the War of the Rohirrim story, they all seem to massively miss the mark about what Lord of the Rings fans want and really what Lord of the Rings is supposed to be about. And that's why even if this movie does get made, even with the people attached to it, Unless it has absolutely phenomenal word of mouth, I just think it stands no chance of being successful. But those are just my thoughts on all this. If you have your own thoughts, go ahead and leave them in the comments. If you liked this video, go and like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, I appreciate you watching all of it, and we'll talk to you again later.